Have you ever wondered why certain moments in life feel strangely familiar? Why some faces seem like old friends, even when you've just met them? Or why deep inside you carry a quiet sense that you've been here before? According to Buddhist wisdom, that feeling may not be random. It could be the echo of countless lifetimes. Buddhism teaches that we don't live just once. Life is a wheel, samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Each lifetime is a classroom, each challenge a test, and each joy a reminder of what truly matters. But eventually, the lessons run out. The wheel slows, the soul nears graduation. This is what Buddhists call the final life cycle, the moment before liberation, when enlightenment is within reach. But how do you know if you are nearing this sacred ending? The truth is, there are signs, mysterious yet powerful. You begin to crave peace more than possessions. You see through illusions that once trapped you. You sense that this world is not the destination, but the training ground. In this video, we'll explore 10 spiritual signs, rooted in Buddhist wisdom, that reveal you might be living your last life on earth. Sign 1. You feel deeply disconnected from the material world. Have you ever looked around at the chaos of consumerism? The latest iPhones, flashy cars, influencer lifestyles, and just thought, this all feels fake? That's not apathy. That might be awakening. One of the strongest signs you're in your last life cycle is a deep, almost unshakable disconnection from the material world. While others chase status, followers, and stuff, you feel like it's all an elaborate illusion, like playing dress-up on a stage you no longer care to perform on. In Buddhist teachings, this state is called vairagya, a sacred detachment. It doesn't mean you hate the world. It means your soul is done learning through it. You've already lived the lives where money, beauty, and power were everything. And now, you see through it. Like a person waking up from a dream, you realize that fulfillment doesn't come from owning more, but from understanding more. This doesn't mean you give up on life. It means you begin to focus on what really matters. Inner peace, kindness, compassion, growth. You crave connection, not competition. Silence, not noise. You might find yourself naturally simplifying, cutting down your wardrobe, spending more time in nature, losing interest in social media drama, or the latest Netflix craze. People might think you've lost your edge, but the truth is, you found your soul. This sign often shows up in small, quiet ways. Maybe you choose meditation over shopping. Maybe you skip the party and journal instead. You're not anti-fun. You just crave something real. If the material world feels like background noise to you, and you're no longer seduced by its glitter, it's because your karmic lessons around attachment, ego, and identity have been mastered. You're not bored. You're beyond it. This is a powerful sign that you're nearing the end of your reincarnation journey. Your spirit is no longer here to collect things. It's here to transcend them. Sign 2. You crave solitude but don't feel lonely. Have you ever chosen to stay in on a Friday night? Not because you were sad, but because your soul just wanted quiet. If the idea of being alone feels like a gift and not a punishment, you might be in your last life cycle. People often confuse solitude with loneliness. But if you're on your final reincarnation, you know there's a massive difference. Loneliness is craving others. Solitude is reconnecting with yourself. And if you find yourself feeling most alive when you're alone in nature, meditating, reading spiritual texts, or just sitting in silence, you're not weird. You're waking up. According to Buddhist wisdom, those nearing the end of samsara naturally pull away from the noise of the world. You've had lifetimes full of noise, crowds, chaos, battles, relationships, drama. Now your soul is tired of outside distractions. It wants peace, reflection, truth, not small talk. You might notice your social circle shrinking, not from conflict, but from clarity. You simply don't resonate with gossip, competition, or shallow connections anymore. You'd rather sit under a tree than at a crowded table. You're not bitter, you're beyond it. In solitude, you feel connected to something bigger, like the universe is whispering secrets just to you. And here's the twist. You're not lonely in these moments. In fact, you've never felt more whole. This desire for solitude is a natural phase for those reaching the end of their karmic journey. It's a return to the self, free from roles, labels, and expectations. It's not depression. It's deep spiritual integration. Others may not understand. They might say you're isolating. But solitude is your sanctuary now, not your prison. In silence, you hear your soul. And when you do connect with someone, it's not because you need them. It's because you choose them consciously, soul to soul. If you find yourself craving alone time more than ever, but feeling peace, not emptiness, you're not broken. You're evolving. You're preparing for the final lesson. Freedom from all forms of dependency. Because in your last life, you don't run from being alone. You finally remember who you are when no one else is around. Sign 3. You experience intense déjà vu and soul memories. Imagine walking down a street in a city you've never been to, and suddenly, you know exactly what's around the corner. You turn, and boom, it's there. Or you meet someone for the first time, but their eyes feel like home. These moments feel magical, almost cinematic. But in spiritual terms, they may be evidence that your soul has been here before, and that this could be your last lifetime. In Buddhism, it's believed that as you near the end of your cycle of rebirth, called Samsara, your connection to past lives becomes stronger. The veil between incarnations begins to lift. Your soul starts recalling what it's already lived through. These memories don't come back in full scenes or timelines. Instead, they flash as powerful moments. Déjà vu, spontaneous knowledge, strange familiarity. It's not a glitch in your brain. It's your karmic memory waking up. You may dream of ancient temples, hear foreign languages in your sleep, or feel drawn to specific historical periods or countries for no logical reason. Maybe you've always felt like the 1800s were your time, or that Egypt, India, or Japan feel oddly sacred. That's your soul's GPS pinging all coordinates. People in their final life often say things like, "I've done this already," or "I'm tired of this world." That fatigue is spiritual, not emotional. You've already played the roles, the warrior, the healer, the seeker. Now, you're the one who's ready to transcend. And as your soul nears graduation, the memories leak through. You no longer need to forget, because you're not coming back. This also explains why you may instantly bond with some people and feel weirdly repelled by others. You're not judging them, you're remembering them. The soul has a longer memory than the mind. If your déjà vu is frequent, vivid, and emotional, if you've caught yourself thinking, "I've lived this before," don't dismiss it. These flashes are sacred signs that you're in the final chapters of your reincarnation story. You're not crazy, you're awakening. And as these memories grow, they don't weigh you down. They prepare you for the most powerful step of all, freedom from rebirth. Sign 4. You've let go of the need for revenge or justice. You've been wronged, lied to, betrayed, maybe even deeply hurt. And yet, you don't feel the burning need to get even anymore. You've stopped keeping score. You've stopped chasing apologies. You've released the urge for revenge, not because you're weak, but because your soul has outgrown the cycle. One of the clearest signs you're in your last life cycle is that your concept of justice transforms. You realize that not everything needs to be balanced by your hand. You no longer crave punishment for those who hurt you. Instead, you crave peace. Your soul whispers, "Let it go." Why? Because on a karmic level, you understand something powerful. Everyone pays their debt, but not always in ways you can see. Buddhism teaches that karma handles what you don't have to. When you're nearing the end of your rebirth journey, your soul stops micromanaging outcomes. You begin to trust the invisible laws of the universe. This doesn't mean you allow abuse or stay silent in the face of injustice. It means you don't let those experiences poison your spirit. You speak the truth when needed, but you don't cling to the pain. You've learned the sacred art of letting go. You may even feel compassion for those who hurt you, not because you approve of their actions, but because you see their suffering. You understand they're still trapped in the karmic web you've started to escape. This shift is massive. It means your soul has matured beyond ego battles. You don't need to win arguments. You don't need to be understood by everyone. You don't even need to see karma hit people back. You just want peace, within and without. People might call you too forgiving or too soft, but they don't see the strength it takes to rise above retaliation. You've done it before, in other lives. Now you're done doing it again. When your focus shifts from justice to liberation, that's not surrender. That's freedom. And it's a sure sign that you're close to breaking the wheel. Because in your final life, the greatest revenge is no longer needing one. Sign 5. You're drawn to spirituality over religion or rules. You may have grown up following a specific religion, going to church, temple, mosque, or another sacred space. Maybe you even believed deeply at one point. But somewhere along the journey, something shifted. You stopped resonating with rituals and started craving truth. You began to search beyond labels and dogma. You didn't want to be told what the divine is. You wanted to feel it. This is one of the clearest signs you may be in your last life cycle. As your soul nears the end of its reincarnation journey, it naturally evolves beyond external systems and begins to awaken from within. Religion, while powerful and sacred for many, often represents structure. But spirituality is about essence. It's the direct, intimate connection between you and the universe, no middleman required. People in their final life often describe feeling a deep reverence for all faiths, yet an allegiance to none. They might find wisdom in the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Tao Te Ching, and even in a tree blowing in the wind. That's because the final life soul doesn't see separation anymore. It sees the oneness behind the form. You may find yourself meditating instead of attending services, journaling instead of reciting prayers, and feeling more connected in silence than in sermons. You don't need fancy robes, holy titles, or sacred chants to feel divine. You just need presence. This isn't rebellion, it's a reunion. You're returning to what you've always known across many lifetimes. That truth is not confined to a building, a book, or a belief system. It lives in your breath, your stillness, your awareness. Others may not understand. They might call you lost, new age, or confused. But your soul knows otherwise. You're not rejecting the sacred. You're experiencing it directly. If you feel more connected to the universe than to man-made rules, if you believe that love, compassion, and truth are higher than any dogma, this is a sign your soul is nearly done with the earth school. Because in your last life, the goal is no longer to follow a path, it's to become the path. Sign 6. You feel an urgent mission, but you can't always explain it. Have you ever felt like you're here for a very specific reason, but you can't quite put it into words? Like something inside you is pushing you toward a purpose that hasn't fully revealed itself yet? That sense of urgency, that inner mission, it's not random. It's a classic sign you may be living your last life cycle. People close to spiritual graduation often carry a deep feeling that they have something important to do in this life. But here's the twist. It's usually not about fame, fortune, or success. It's something deeper. You feel called to help others, raise consciousness, speak truth, or create healing. You may not know the full plan, but you know you're here for more than just existing. Buddhism teaches that as your soul prepares for liberation from samsara, the cycle of rebirth, you come into your final life with a kind of cosmic assignment. It's as if your soul made a contract before coming here. Let me leave the world better than I found it. Let me complete my work. You might feel this pull in childhood, being unusually reflective, wise beyond your years. Or it might awaken suddenly later in life, after a loss, a dream, or a spiritual awakening. But when it hits, it's powerful. You begin asking questions like, why am I really here? What am I meant to give before I go? The mission doesn't always come with instructions. Sometimes, it's just a vibe. A quiet urgency, like time is ticking and you have to get moving spiritually. You may feel called to speak truth, create art, heal others, or simply be a presence of light in a dark world. Even when you can't explain it, you feel it. And that's what makes it real. This inner purpose isn't ego-based. It's not about proving anything. It's about completion. You're tying up soul-level loose ends. You're answering a call that echoes from lifetimes ago. So if you wake up with a sense that you're meant to do something meaningful, even if you don't know what yet, trust it. That quiet fire inside is your final life energy awakening. Because in your last life, the mission isn't always clear, but the pull toward purpose is undeniable. Sign 7. You see death differently, and you're not afraid of it. For most people, death is the ultimate fear. It's the great unknown, the shadow at the end of the road. But if you're in your last life cycle, something within you shifts. You no longer tremble at the thought of death. Instead, you approach it with calmness, almost like an old friend you've met before. You don't obsess over it, but you don't run from it either. Why? Because deep in your soul, you already know the truth. Death is not the end. In Buddhism, death is not viewed as a tragedy, but as a doorway, a passage into another state of existence. And when you've lived many lifetimes, when you've crossed that doorway again and again, the fear naturally dissolves. It feels familiar, almost natural. This understanding makes you live differently. You're less attached to material possessions, less trapped by ego, and less consumed by the need to hold on. You reflect on death in a sacred way, not as darkness, but as transformation. And when loved ones pass, you grieve, yes, but you also carry a quiet certainty that they are continuing their journey. In your final incarnation, death is no longer a curse, it's freedom, the release your soul has been preparing for. Sign 8. You're attracted to simplicity, minimalism, and nature. You may have once dreamed of the fast life, the big house, the shiny car, the fancy clothes. But now, you feel more alive in bare feet, under an open sky, sipping tea in silence than you do in shopping malls or luxury hotels. If you're finding joy in simplicity, minimalism, and nature, it's a powerful sign you might be in your last life cycle. As your soul nears the end of its reincarnation journey, it begins to let go of distractions. You've had lifetimes of drama, noise, and material obsession. Now, your spirit craves clarity, not clutter. You no longer feel the urge to have it all. You just want peace. Buddhist wisdom teaches that detachment is one of the final stages of awakening. And it doesn't mean living like a monk or giving up everything. It means your happiness is no longer dependent on external stuff. A walk in the woods, the sound of rain, the warmth of sunlight on your face, these become your treasures. You may feel overwhelmed in crowded cities or around people chasing fame or money. You may start decluttering your home, your social circle, even your thoughts. You begin to strip away what doesn't feel real, and with every layer you let go of, you feel lighter. Nature, in particular, begins to feel sacred. You find healing in the trees, wisdom in the mountains, and love in the breeze. You no longer want to dominate nature. You want to flow with it. Because deep down, you remember, you are part of it. You also stop comparing. You're not trying to keep up. You're not interested in competing. You don't want to impress. You want to exist honestly and peacefully. This shift towards simplicity doesn't make you boring. It makes you aligned. You're tuning in to what matters. You're remembering what the soul has always known. The richest life is one where the spirit is free. If minimalism makes you feel abundant, if quiet spaces feel like home, and if nature feels like a temple, you're not weird. You're wise. Because in your last life, you stop chasing the world and finally start being present in it. Sign 9. You forgive easily and feel emotions deeply, but you don't drown in them. Have you noticed that you cry more easily, feel others' pain deeply, or get overwhelmed by beauty, music, or simple acts of kindness? And yet, despite this emotional depth, you no longer get stuck in your feelings. You let them flow and move on. That emotional balance is not ordinary. It's a powerful sign you might be in your last life cycle. In earlier incarnations, we swing between extremes. Anger that burns for years, sadness that turns into bitterness, grudges we can't let go. But as the soul matures and approaches its final round on earth, it learns to feel fully, but without attachment. You stop building houses in your emotions. You let them pass like the weather. You might find yourself forgiving people who never apologized, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. You know that holding on to pain only chains you to the past. And at this point in your journey, your soul wants to be free, not right. Buddhist teachings often describe the enlightened soul as one that has become like water, flexible, flowing, able to reflect clearly without clinging. That's you. You've become emotionally transparent. You feel it all, but you're not owned by it. This kind of forgiveness isn't about weakness, it's spiritual intelligence. You've lived enough lifetimes to know that people hurt others from their own pain. And you don't take it personally anymore. You see through their actions, beyond the ego, into the wounded child or confused soul behind it. This is why empaths, those who absorb emotions and understand pain deeply, are often in their final incarnations. Your emotional sensitivity isn't a curse, it's a gift of soul memory. But the true beauty is how you process emotions now. You don't shove them down or let them explode. You observe. You cry, breathe, release. Then you rise. If you've noticed that your heart breaks easily but heals just as quickly, if you forgive, love, and feel in a way that confuses others, you're not too sensitive. You're spiritually advanced, because in your last life, the soul doesn't resist emotion. It flows with it, then moves through it, wiser every time. Sign 10. You feel a sense of completion and readiness to go home. Have you ever looked around at life, not with sadness, not with fear, but with a quiet whisper in your heart that says, I'm almost done here? If you've ever felt an unexplainable readiness to go home, even when life is good, you may be in your last life cycle. This feeling isn't depression. It's not a desire to escape life. It's a soul memory. It's the awareness that this earth is beautiful, yes, but it's not your final destination. You've traveled through many lifetimes, learned deep lessons, and now your spirit is nearing completion. People in their last reincarnation often feel a strange sense of calm, even in chaos. There's less urgency, less need to prove, chase, or hold on. You've experienced love, pain, loss, success. You've played many roles: parent, lover, warrior, seeker. And now, you just want to be. There's often a spiritual homesickness, a longing not for a place, but for a state of being, a return to the soul's natural vibration, peace, unity, light. You may feel like you've done what you came to do. Even if you're not sure what that is exactly, your soul says, it's enough. Buddhist wisdom teaches that when you've balanced your karma and realized the illusion of separation, the cycle of rebirth comes to an end. And in that moment, you don't fight life, but you also don't cling to it. You may still enjoy life deeply, sunsets, laughter, hugs, but you do so without gripping, without fear. You understand that everything is temporary, and that's okay. You love without needing to possess. You live without needing to control. You're in flow. And most of all, you're at peace with the idea of returning home, to the source, to the light, to whatever you believe exists beyond this life. You don't see death as a punishment. You see it as a reunion. If you feel this gentle sense of wrapping up, of gratitude mixed with release, then listen closely. Because in your last life, the journey ends not with fear, but with a whisper from your soul saying, thank you. I'm ready now. Maybe you've recognized a few of these signs, or maybe every single one resonated deeply. Either way, understand this. These are not random feelings. They are soul signals, reminders that you're awakening to a higher truth. Buddhism teaches that samsara, the cycle of rebirth, is not a punishment, but a school for the soul. And when the lessons of compassion, forgiveness, and love are finally mastered, the soul is free. Enlightenment doesn't happen somewhere far away. It begins here, in this awareness, in this very moment. If this video spoke to you, it's no accident. Your soul is ready, and your presence here is part of your path. So stay awake, live with intention, and keep walking the journey home. If you felt this message in your heart, give this video a like, share it with a fellow seeker, and subscribe for more wisdom. Until next time, stay peaceful, stay awakened.